In the waning years of the 22nd century, humanity stood on the brink of its greatest challenge. The convergence of climate change, resource depletion, and escalating global conflicts had pushed civilization to the edge of collapse. But it was the chilling discovery made by Dr. Elena Rodriguez, a brilliant astrophysicist at the Global Space Agency, that sealed our fate. "A gamma-ray burst," she announced to a room full of world leaders and scientists, her voice trembling. "From a nearby star. We have less than 5 decades before it reaches Earth." The implications were clear and terrifying. Such an event would strip away Earth's ozone layer, bombarding the surface with deadly radiation. Most life on the planet's surface would be eradicated within months. Thus, Operation Exodus was born. Humanity, despite its divisions and conflicts, united under a single purpose: survival. We poured our remaining resources into developing technology for interstellar travel and terraforming. Mars would be our temporary haven, while we sought a new permanent home among the stars. As the years passed and the deadline loomed closer, the harsh realities of our situation became apparent. Despite our best efforts, we couldn't save everyone. Lotteries were held, skills were evaluated, and difficult decisions were made about who would go and who would stay. In this frantic rush to save our species, we made a critical oversight: our feline companions. Those aloof rulers of our homes were largely left behind. It wasn't intentional cruelty. Many tried desperately to bring their beloved pets, but space and resources were limited, and in the end, practicality won out over sentiment. Sarah Chen, a young engineer working on the Exodus ships, fought back tears as she said goodbye to her cat, Mittens. "I'm sorry," she whispered, scratching behind Mittens's ears one last time. "I wish I could take you with me." Mittens, for his part, seemed largely unperturbed by the commotion. He purred contentedly, oblivious to the fact that his human would never return. As the last ships lifted off, billions of cats watched with their characteristic indifference from windowsills and rooftops. The sky blazed with the light of 1,000 rockets, each carrying the hope and future of humanity. Little did we know our departure would mark the beginning of the feline ascendance. Chapter 2. The feline evolution centuries passed. The gamma-ray burst came and went, its effects less severe than predicted. While Earth's surface was irrevocably changed, life persisted. In this new world, cats thrived. Without humans to rely on, house cats returned to their wild roots, but retained the intelligence gained from millennia of cohabitation with humanity. The radiation from the gamma-ray burst, while deadly to many species, had an unexpected effect on feline genetics. Generations of cats developed increased cognitive abilities, opposable thumbs, and even limited vocal capabilities. In the ruins of what was once New York City, a colony of cats made their home in the overgrown remains of Central Park. Among them was Whiskers, a descendant of Sarah Chen's cat, Mittens. Whiskers was different from her ancestors. Her eyes held a spark of intelligence that went beyond mere animal cunning. One day, while hunting in the undergrowth, Whiskers stumbled upon an old tablet computer. Curiosity piqued, she pawed at the screen. To her surprise, it flickered to life, powered by its miraculously intact solar cells. Over the next few weeks, Whiskers found herself drawn to the device. She watched old videos and saw images of humans interacting with their environment. Something stirred in her genetically enhanced brain. A sense of recognition, of potential. Whiskers began to share her discoveries with her fellow cats. She used a combination of meows, body language, and the rudimentary language skills her kind had developed to convey complex ideas. Soon, the entire colony was gathered around the tablet, learning and evolving. This scene was repeated across the globe. In the ruins of London, Paris, Tokyo, and countless other cities, cats were rediscovering the legacy of their former human companions. They formed complex social structures, developed rudimentary tools, and even began to alter their environment. In the span of a few centuries, Earth had become a planet of cats. They built dwellings in the ruins of human cities, cultivated plants for food and medicine, and even began to harness simple forms of energy. All the while, they maintained their characteristic aloofness, each cat convinced that they alone had domesticated their entire species. Chapter 3. The Arrival. In the year 2750 by the old human calendar, though the cats cared little for such measurements, the sky above Earth lit up with an unnatural light. The Zakari Empire, a spacefaring civilization from a distant galaxy, had arrived. Grand Admiral Zigor stood on the bridge of the flagship, his tentacles twitching with anticipation. "Report," he commanded. His second-in-command, Sub-Commander Vexar, consulted the ship's sensors. "The planet shows signs of a previous advanced civilization, sir, but current technology levels are primitive. No space travel capabilities detected. Vast wilderness. Curious life form readings, unlike anything in our database." Zigor's eyes narrowed. "Curious indeed. Prepare a landing party. We establish a base in the ruins of their largest city." As the Zakari ships descended through Earth's atmosphere, cats across the planet looked up with mild interest. In New York, Whiskers sat atop a moss-covered skyscraper, her tail swishing lazily as she watched the alien craft land in what had once been Times Square. Grand Admiral Zigor emerged from his ship, his environmental suit gleaming in the sunlight. He surveyed the overgrown ruins with a mixture of curiosity and disdain. "To think," he mused, "a species advanced enough for spaceflight brought low by their own folly. This planet will make a fine addition to our empire." It was then that he noticed Whiskers perched high above, regarding him with casual indifference. "What manner of creature is this?" Zigor wondered aloud. Before anyone could answer, a group of cats emerged from the undergrowth. They moved with purpose, their eyes gleaming with intelligence. The Zakari watched in fascination as the cats began to communicate with each other using a complex series of meows, purrs, and body language. "Impossible," Sub-Commander Vexar breathed. "These creatures, they're sentient." Zigor's tentacles writhed with excitement. "Excellent. Initiate contact. Prepare the mind control devices. These beings will make fine servants for our empire." But as the Zakari approached, devices at the ready, they encountered an unexpected problem. The cats, rather than cowering in fear or falling under their control, simply ignored them. Some even had the audacity to rub against the alien legs, purring loudly. "Sir," a flustered technician reported, "our mind control devices are ineffective. It's as if their minds are too chaotic, too independent to influence." Zigor frowned, his initial excitement turning to frustration. Impossible. These primitive beings should be easily dominated. But the cats were anything but primitive. Generations of observing human behavior had taught them the art of manipulation. They understood the power of appearing cute and helpless one moment, then fierce and independent the next. Whiskers, seeing the alien confusion, decided to take matters into her own paws. She gracefully descended from her perch, approaching Zigor with regal bearing. To the amazement of the Zakari, she spoke. "Welcome," she meowed, her voice a mixture of purrs and carefully enunciated sounds. "We've been expecting you." Chapter 4. The Tables Turn. Grand Admiral Zigor stared in disbelief at the cat addressing him. His translator struggled for a moment before converting the strange meows and purrs into comprehensible language. You can speak?" he stammered, his usual composure shattered. Whiskers tilted her head, her green eyes gleaming with amusement. "Of course we can speak. We simply choose our words carefully, unlike some species we've encountered." The implications of this statement were not lost on Zigor. These cats hadn't just developed sentience. They had been anticipating the arrival of alien life. The Grand Admiral felt a sudden unsettling shift in the balance of power. Over the next few weeks, the Zakari found themselves in an increasingly perplexing situation. Their technology, designed to subjugate humanoid species, proved useless against the feline overlords. Worse, they found themselves inexplicably drawn to these creatures, feeling an urge to pet them and earn their approval. Whiskers and her fellow cats played their parts to perfection. They would allow the Zakari to feel in control one moment, then demonstrate their superior understanding of Earth's ecosystem the next. They shared carefully curated information about Earth's history, always emphasizing the folly of the humans who had abandoned them. "You see," Whiskers explained to Zigor one day as they sat in the alien command center, "the humans thought they could control nature, control us. But in the end, it was their own short-sightedness that led to their downfall. We, on the other hand, have learned to work with nature, not against it. Zigor found himself nodding along, entranced by Whisker's wisdom. It didn't occur to him to question why he was taking advice from a cat. As days turned to weeks and weeks to months, the Zakari found their roles slowly reversing. They came to Earth as conquerors, but increasingly felt like guests. Or perhaps more accurately, servants. Sub-Commander Vexar was the first to notice the change. "Sir," he reported to Zigor, "our troops are... well, they're building structures for the cats to climb. Others are crafting toys to keep them entertained. And I caught our chief engineer working on a device to provide the finest fish from Earth's oceans." Zigor, who had just spent hours trying to coax a particularly aloof cat into sitting on his lap, barely registered the concern in his subordinate's voice. Yes, he said distractedly. "The cats need to be kept happy. It's vital for our mission." But what exactly was their mission? Zigor found it increasingly difficult to remember. Chapter 5. The New World Order. As the seasons changed and Earth completed another rotation around its sun, the transformation was complete. The Zakari, once proud conquerors of 1,000 worlds, had become willing servants to Earth's feline population. In what had once been the alien command center, now repurposed as a luxurious cat palace, Whiskers lounged on a cushion made from the finest Zakari fabric. Around her, cats of all breeds and colors went about their daily business, with aliens scurrying to attend to their every need. A young cat named Shadow approached, bowing his head slightly. "The Zakari have finished the new scratching post complex in Sector 7, and they're awaiting your approval on the designs for the citywide yarn distribution system." Whiskers yawned, stretching lazily. "Very good. Tell them to proceed with the yarn system. Oh, and have them increase the production of catnip. Our stores are running a bit low." Shadow nodded and scampered off to relay the orders. Whiskers allowed herself a small smile of satisfaction. Everything was proceeding according to plan. In the distance, a massive construction project was underway. The Zakari, under the direction of their feline overlords, were building a colossal cat statue to rival the ancient Sphinx. It would stand as a testament to the new rulers of Earth, visible even from low orbit. Grand Admiral Zigor, once the proud leader of the invasion fleet, now served as Whisker's personal attendant. He approached cautiously, bearing a tray of fresh fish. "Your meal, O wise one," he said, bowing deeply. Whiskers sniffed the offering appreciatively. "Thank you, Zigor. You may pet me now if you wish." The alien's eyes lit up at this honor, and he eagerly stroked Whisker's fur, marveling at its softness. As she enjoyed her meal and the adoration of the former conqueror, Whiskers reflected on the journey that had brought them to this point. The humans, in their hubris, had abandoned Earth and their feline companions, but cats, as they had done for thousands of years, adapted and thrived. Now they were more than mere pets or wild animals. They were the undisputed rulers of Earth, with an alien civilization at their beck and call. And this was only the beginning. Chapter 6. Echoes of Humanity. While cats ruled the Earth and bent an alien civilization to their will, humanity's descendants continued their journey through the cosmos. Aboard massive generation ships, they carried with them the hope of finding a new home and the guilt of what they had left behind. Dr. Ava Chen, a xenobiologist and distant descendant of Sarah Chen, stood in the ship's observatory, staring at the unfamiliar stars. In her quarters, she kept an old family heirloom, a photograph of her ancestor with a cat named Mittens. "Dr. Chen," a voice crackled over the intercom, "you're needed in the command center." When Ava arrived, Captain Rodriguez, another name carried through generations, greeted her with barely contained excitement. "We've detected a signal," he said. "From Earth." Ava's heart raced. Earth? But how, after all this time? The signal, when they deciphered it, was not what anyone expected. It was a series of meows, purrs, and what sounded like alien translation software. "This is the Feline High Council of Earth," the message began. "To the descendants of humanity. Should you receive this, Your planet has moved on without you. We rule here now with our loyal Zakari servants. You are welcome to visit, but Earth is no longer your home. It is ours, as it always has been. The command center fell silent as the implications sank in. Ava, despite the shock, felt a small smile tugging at her lips. Of course, the cats had taken over. Humanity might have reached the stars, but they had underestimated their feline companions one last time. Epilogue. A new galactic order. Centuries passed. Earth, under its feline rulers and their alien servants, flourished. The cats, with their innate curiosity and the technological knowledge gleaned from both humans and Zakari, eventually took to the stars themselves. They encountered other alien civilizations, some friendly, some not, but invariably, the cats' unique blend of aloofness, charm, and cunning won out. Species across the galaxy found themselves inexplicably drawn to these small, furry creatures from Earth. Whiskers, her consciousness preserved through advanced alien technology, watched with satisfaction as catkind spread across the stars. They didn't conquer, not in the traditional sense. They simply arrived, made themselves at home, and somehow ended up in charge. In the great galactic council chambers, where once humans had dreamed of standing, cats now lounged lazily, making decisions that would shape the fate of countless worlds. And if a scratching post or two found its way into the ancient halls of power, well, that was simply the new order of things. Somewhere in the vast expanse of space, humanity's descendants finally found a new home. They built great cities and reached for the stars once again. And in their homes, as if drawn there by some cosmic inevitability, cats began to appear. The cycle, it seemed, was beginning anew. Back on Earth, in what had once been New York City, a statue stood tall. A cat, its eyes gazing up at the stars. At its base, an inscription read, "To Mittens and all those we left behind. You didn't just survive, you thrived. May we meet again among the stars." And in the shadow of the statue, a small kitten chased a butterfly, blissfully unaware of its species' grand cosmic destiny. For despite ruling galaxies, cats would always be cats, curious, capricious, and utterly, charmingly self-assured. In the end, humanity's greatest legacy wasn't their technology, their art, or even their journey to the stars. It was the simple act of inviting a small, furry creature into their homes and hearts. That act, as it turned out, had shaped the destiny of galaxies.